Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first episode of the Attack On Geek Show. Welcome. I am your host, Tom, joined by my co-host,
Dhayana.
And very exciting times. Now, real quick, we'll do a couple of quick introductions for maybe someone who is just joining in for the very first time. We'll start off with you, Dhayana. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? And who are you?
I'm me. I'm Dhayana, otherwise known as Mr. Geek. And I basically have started Attack on Geek as a pop culture and geek hub. We cover all things from films, TV, anime, pop culture, games, everything and anything.
Cool. And I'm Tom, technical guy and masseuse, on-house masseuse. I think that's the best way to describe that. I play video games as well. I think that's the easiest way to describe it.
In that case, then I should also add I'm the doer of everything and not having enough time for anything.
Yeah, I think that fits it perfectly. Speaking of not having time for anything, this week, I don't know if you guys are aware, it's a pretty massive week for the pop culture world. We have some of the biggest things kicking off, some of the biggest announcements going off. Not only are Attack on Geek announcing things, and you can check out our social channels, twitter.com/attackongeek for all of those awesome announcements, but in the pop culture space, a bunch of stuff has gone down this week. We've had Netflix Geeked Week, we've had Summer Games Fest, and we've had E3, which we got up extra early for this morning. So I think we're gonna go through all the awesome stuff that you may or may not have seen that's happened in the last couple of days, go over some of our favorite stuff, and just give our opinions and things. So let's kick it off. Netflix Geek Week. So Diana, what was Netflix Geek Week? What is it? Tell me what it is.
So you know how games have E3?
Yep, biggest game show ever.
Netflix has decided to do the same thing, same week, called Geek Week, covering all things geek on Netflix.
Sweet. Oh, there we go. It's easy. I'm sure you've all heard of E3. This was 5 days of just non-stop announcements.
5 days of non-stop announcements.
So I think we're just going to go over our highlights for the week. So we're going to cover off some of the things that you enjoyed, some of the things that I enjoyed, and then some of the things that we're both really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best plan here.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess did you want to go over your highlights first?
To be honest, it was very hard to pick out just one or two highlights. I was very keen for almost everything, and of course we watch everything together,
yeah.
So it was a bit hard to pick out things that were just unique for me. But if I had to pick two, it would definitely be Fear Street. There are 3 movies coming in July based on the Fear Street saga books. I loved them as a teen. It was absolutely wonderful.
Is that Goosebumps?
No.
Oh.
So Goosebumps was for kids. R.L. Stine was very particular about this. Goosebumps is the kiddie version, and he took it up a notch with Fear Street for teens. So Fear Street is gorier, bloodier, more R-rated for teens, so under 18. Although, in this Netflix trilogy of films, it's going to be R-rated as well, so expect to see a whole lot of gore, a whole lot of scares. It's going to cover 3 different time periods from 1994, 1978, and 1666, so expect some witchcraft, some supernatural bits and pieces. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait. Following that, of course, again, tying in with the supernatural, is The Witcher Season 2. I, of course, am a huge Henry Cavill fan. If Henry Cavill was available, I would dump Tom and run straight to him, but unfortunately he has someone now, so unfortunately I don't have a shot.
This is what I have to put up with.
But during Geek Week, Netflix showed off a teaser for Season 2 that was very Siri-centric. So I'm very keen to see what Siri's destiny is in Season 2, because obviously her grandmother has now passed on. She's the head of, is it Syria? I think it's called, or I can't remember what the area or kingdom that she is a part of, but it's going to be really exciting to see Gerald and Ciri have a relationship.
So
a PG relationship, of course, I hope.
Witcher season 1. Do you need to watch that to watch season 2?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And also Henry Cavill, so.
Sweet. Those are your main highlights?
Those are my main highlights.
So for me, I was really excited for the League of Legends animated. I've been playing League of Legends for a very long time. League of Legends and Riot that are doing a lot in the space. They're evolving past being just a game. You've got things like KDA getting into the music space.
KDA is the only bit of League of Legends that I know and I enjoy.
They've got card game. They've just done the obviously Valorant is made by the same guys, not League of Legends. You got card game. There's an RPG on the way. There was talks of a fighting game that they're doing, a League of Legends fighting game. And then at the same time, they announced Arcane, which is the new animated series coming to Netflix. And they showed off a trailer. Looks really cool. There's a bunch of champions. I think Jinx is the main person in this trailer. And some new characters. But if you've played League of Legends, the MOBA, and you've played the card game, you'll recognize a lot of familiar faces.
Aren't they basically following Dota? Because Dota did an animated series as well.
I feel like because Dota snuck in super quick because there was nothing on Dota. League of Legends announces they're animated first, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure League announced their animation first, and then I don't know. Dota just came out of nowhere, left field, and they've got it animated now. But Dota did come first as far as games are concerned, and it's those two are the top MOBAs.
Whoever does it first always wins. So Dota put it first, they win.
League, like I said, team at Riot are doing really well. That was one of them, and the other one, which is already out, you can start watching it, is the blooper reel show thing they did for Sweet Tooth, which is, for me, it's like the Last of Us TV show now. So it's not exactly like it, but it has small child with big man traveling across America. The country has been ravaged by a disease called the sick, and there are bad people, there are good people, you don't know who to trust. It's literally Last of Us, the TV show.
But watch the bloopers because they showed off a very fun human side to Big Man and Sweet Tooth.
Yep.
And all they did was eat candy. And it was amazing. It's almost like when we did our Tokyo Treat unboxing.
yeah.
It was very fun.
We won't spoil it. But you didn't like the first episode, right? We started watching it.
I am still in two minds about the show.
Yeah.
It's slowly growing on me, but we're on what, episode 5? 4 or 5?
5, yeah. I think
4 or 5. And yeah, it took a couple episodes.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It's based on a graphic novel. I haven't read it. I only heard about it through this announcement, but yeah, I'm enjoying it.
It's produced by Robert Downey Jr. as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's producing it.
And it's based off DC Comics.
DC comic. Okay. Yeah.
So if you like DC, check this one out.
Alrighty. So those are our individual highlights. Now we're going to cover our the highlights that we're both very excited for, because all of these highlights would have been on our own list, but we're going to watch them together. And these specifically are the shows that we're not allowed to watch without the other person present. Or the rule in our household is, if you do, you have to rewatch that episode with your partner when they miss it.
And 90% of this list we would actually watch again. So if we were to watch it individually, we would sit back and watch it again with the other person involved.
Yeah. These are good shows. So in no particular order, we'll take it in turns?
Sure.
Okay, in no particular order. So first up, we've of course got Umbrella Academy Season 3. Umbrella Academy, for those of you who didn't know, is another superhero show with a little bit of a twist, based off of the graphic novel by, what's his name? Gerard
Way.
Gerard Wade, who is...
Is he My Chemical Romance?
My Chemical Romance? I don't...
No?
Was he another... Yeah, it was My Chemical Romance, Gerard Wade.
Right, yeah.
I don't think there's any other bands.
Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance wrote the entire Umbrella Academy, obviously with a co-writer whose name I forgot.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Who remembers the other guy when you've got the guy from My Chemical Romance writing an entire comic book series that has made it to Netflix and it's been awesome all the seasons through.
So you and I, we haven't read the graphic novel. We just jumped in on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a look at the graphic novel. The art style is a little bit weird. I'm not a huge fan of it.
I haven't even bothered looking at the comics.
But
For me, it's Marvel all the way in terms of comics, so I'm just watching the shows.
So there's 3 graphic novels out. I think they've covered graphic novel 1 and maybe some of graphic novel 2, and I think season 3 is probably going to cover the third graphic novel. But yeah, really excited for that. And next up,
we have Lock and Key Season 2. So Lock and Key, I believe, is based on another graphic novel. So Netflix is going big on graphic novels. Lock and Key Season 1 was really bizarre and was quite new for both of us because neither one of us had read the graphic novels or knew anything about the show going in. Season 2 obviously is going to hopefully show off more of the lore of the lock and keys.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll see a little bit more in terms of character development.
It's got your Mr. Iceman.
Oh yes, Lamplighter, Iceman, Quantum Break, Shawn Ashmore. Shawn Ashmore is in this show, so of course it's going to be good because good actors always make things good.
Yeah.
And also Netflix has found a gold mine, I think, with some of these graphic novel adaptations.
Yeah, which interestingly brings us into our next highlight, which some of you may have heard about this anime before, but live action Cowboy Bebop.
Filmed in Auckland.
Yep.
In our hometown.
I think we might get murdered though with this next point though. I haven't seen Cowboy Bebop.
I haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, and I work in anime.
So look, we've got lots to watch. So it's something that we hear all about. Watch Cowboy Bebop. Oh, it's so good. Music's so good. Yes, we're aware. We'll get around to it at some point, but I don't know. Are we going to watch the anime first and then the live action, or are we going to watch the live action? So therefore, if the live action's bad, we won't get disappointed when we watch the anime.
Given the time constraints that we have, I think watching the live action first is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially because, yes, we might get disappointed.
So the live action will just set the bar, and then, as always, the anime is usually way better.
Yeah.
So then we won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan.
And during Geek Week, we actually got a bit of a reveal of what Spike Spiegel in real life will look like.
He looks the part.
John Cho, who I don't know if you all remember watching Harold and Kumar way back in the day.
Never watched that.
John Cho is Spike Spiegel, and his hair is pretty amazing. He grew it out just for this show, and yeah, I must say it looks.
Because I think everybody will recognize the main guy from Cowboy Bebop. Like you put the anime picture, and then you put
John Cho
next to him. They look identical.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and obviously. It's going to be interesting to see how well they've managed to do this because, as we all know, the Death Note live-action adaptation...
I don't think we're allowed to talk about that. I think we just scrub...
We're scrubbing it up.
We scrub
Attack
that from
on
our
Titan
memory.
live-action.
We scrubbed that one.
Full Metal Alchemist live-action.
I can't remember that being bad. So
it wasn't that bad. It was watchable.
Yeah.
And it followed the show quite well.
Yeah. So that one, because the bad ones you'll always remember. But I can't remember that being good or bad. So
it was decent.
Yeah,
it was decent. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
And next on our list,
Masters of the Universe Revelation. Oh my god, I can't even say anything else because the first trailer that we got to see during Geek Week was just top notch, class. The music was by Bonnie Tyler. I Need a Hero. It was absolutely amazing. I think everyone needs to go and watch it.
One of our friends made a very good point. They said that they will be very disappointed if they don't make a reference to the Hey Ya song.
Oh yeah.
I thought when in the trailer when they were building up the music, I thought they were going to play that song and do some sort of like heavy metal rock version of it, but no.
It'll be a bit hard when you have Mark Hamill voicing Skeletor as well. Is it him? Yeah, it's definitely him.
Like you 100%?
I haven't checked, but I'm very sure.
Okay.
I need to go and double check, but I'm very sure.
And this is done by the Castlevania guys.
It's animated by the Castlevania guys, yes. But the person who brought all of this together is none other than Kevin Smith, who is legitimately next to Stan Lee, the king of pop culture and geekdom. So it'll be very good under his, obviously, purview. And no doubt with the animators of Castlevania, it's going to look really high quality. I think the last time I watched Masters of the Universe was the Cartoon Network spin-off. I can't even remember much of the story, but yeah, it'll be good to have He-Man back front and center, especially now with the younger generation not being exposed to the likes of He-Man and She-Ra and all of them.
Because, I mean, I've only ever been exposed to the song. The Hey Ya song. That's my only
God.
He-Man exposure.
You have so much that you need to go over now. We need to go right back to the 80s and make you watch all the cartoons.
I don't know. I wasn't interested in them back then. I don't know. Just they never clicked with me.
No, what were you watching back then?
Like Magic School Bus, Simpsons.
Ah, those kind of shows.
just I don't know.
Quality shows. We need to introduce you to some quality retro shows.
Pretty sure I had Looney Tunes and all of that, but
Not good enough. And moving on.
speaking of Castlevania, Castlevania spin-off got announced. So after the amazing finale of Castlevania Season 4, by the way, if you haven't watched that,
Highly
absolutely
recommended.
fantastic. Yeah, the Season 1 is only 4 episodes, very short first season, and then Season 2, 3, and 4 are all 10 episodes.
Can't quite remember
But
if they're all 10.
They're amazing. It's something you can just binge watch
It's
across the
short
week.
and sweet enough that you can watch it in a week. But I highly recommend, if you are watching the final episode, have a box of tissues next to you. It is poignant.
Yeah, it was really, really good end to the series. And yeah, we're getting a spin-off show that stars the... I don't know if it's spoilers. If for people who haven't seen the show, you can cover your ears, but it has Trevor and Cypher's kid, Richter, who is the Super Smash Bros. Fighter. That's where you might hear the name from. And this takes place during the French Revolution.
During the French Revolution. So that's going to be really interesting because obviously the French Revolution is one of the most popular revolutionary wars in history. So how does that tie in with vampires and demons?
So when was
and
the
all
French
that?
Revolution? Do you know?
Oh god, off the top
history?
of my head, it must have been like the 17th century.
Because the Castlevania current series is all like witchcraft, vampires, it's all very old-timey. So
It's either the 17th or 18th century. It's definitely years and years and years after Dracula's popularization.
yeah. But either way, we're like 100% watching that.
And of course, when we talk about Netflix, you cannot not talk about Stranger Things.
How long has it been since we've last heard anything about Stranger Things?
We've been hearing bits and pieces, but it's been a while since season 3.
They were releasing it once a year, right? It was pretty
consistent.
1, 2, 3, and then we haven't heard anything for I think it's like been a year and a half now.
It's been a while. We watched it with my parents back in 2019, season 3.
Yeah, so it's been at least a year and a half, nearly 2 years. And what did they show off?
They pretty much showed off a Smite collaboration, which is really interesting. So we're seeing a lot more game inclusions.
They're also doing a Magic the Gathering collaboration as well.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so some special
interesting.
Stranger Things cards.
The thing that was really a big sell for the highlight, a big sell and a highlight of Geek Week was the introduction of brand new season 4 characters. So obviously we've got the main characters, the kids who have followed through from season 1 to season 3.
Yep.
We've got Hop, we've got all the different parents.
Most important character, Babysitter Steve.
Of course. And now we're getting a bunch of new characters who we've never seen before, including a brand new teacher.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting to see where the story is going. Because obviously we left off season 3 with at least an introduction to the Russians.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So Hop got absorbed by like the portal blast thing at the end, and he disappeared. Everybody thought he was dead. And then the after credit scene, spoilers, he's in a Russian mining camp, head shaved, and the Russians are going to finally make their appearance. And we also saw there was a bit of a teaser. We also saw 11's dad,
Papa.
shouting for 11. Like, we're clearly going back to some origins, more 11 origin story, which is always good. Like those scenes, done really well.
Yeah, because I don't really think we've actually delved right back into her origins, other than season 1, season 2, where they showed bits and pieces of her interaction in the laboratory with Papa, and all of that, but not really why they experimented on these kids, or how these kids were even...
They touched on it in season 3 briefly as well, when 11 goes with that gang of kids who also have numbers. There's that one girl who's named a number as well, and I can't remember if she has powers. So there are, they touched on it a bit, but maybe we're going to get some more meat, I guess, on this backstory.
You know what I'm really looking forward to, though? I really want Dustin and his girlfriend to sing the Never Ending Story song again.
Oh my god, they'll probably sing another song. Maybe they'll sing another song, because... So what do we get? Is it still 70s or is it going into the 80s now?
I'm pretty sure it's likely to go into the 80s. Or we've kind of touched on the 80s because of the style of clothing that 11 was wearing.
Yeah.
And, who is the new girl and her brother that joined in? What were their names?
I can't remember the name, but the redhead and then the brother who is a super creep for a whole show.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so they kind of came in with a very 80s vibe. So I'm not sure if we're on the cusp of the 80s or we're already in the 80s.
It's Cold War as well. It'll be Russian Cold War. So
Russian Cold War.
The Cold War is between America and Russia, right?
So it would be in the 80s then.
So probably can still be in the 80s.
Yes.
And that's pretty much our highlights for Geek Week. We covered a lot there, but and most of these, are they launching this year?
Either this year or next.
It's all very close. Like, you don't have to wait too long. Masters of the Universe, I think, is
this year.
Is this year? That's probably the most important. Lock and Key is this year. Cowboy Bebop
should be this year.
I think those are the main ones.
Either way, all of this recap is all on Attack on Geek's website. You can see all 5 days recapped with all the different trailers, all the different teasers, some behind the scenes and all of that. All there for you to go and look at and enjoy. Yeah,
so head on over to attackongeek.com. Follow us on Twitter. You'll see all the updates and things there. That was Netflix. Whew, alrighty. So I think we're on to...
Summer Games.
Yeah, Summer Games Fest. Was that Friday or Saturday? I can't remember.
That was Friday. We had a day off on Saturday. Kind of.
So this year, obviously, it's a little bit different. Last year, there was just no E3. It was obviously COVID, cancelled. This year, they're taking it all online. And it feels a little bit weird. Like, you and I, we've both been to at least one E3. Your last E3 was... 2018. So, yeah, this one is a bit weird. Still very cool. So it kicked off with Summer Games Fest, which... Is that the replacement for the PC gaming show, or is that...
there is going to be a PC gaming show.
So what was the point of this?
So essentially, it's a kickoff. It's a celebration into E3. Okay. So E3 Day 1 started today.
Yeah.
But Summer Games Fest kind of walked us into it.
So this was just E3 Day 0.
Pretty much.
Get you prepared. Be sure to muck up poor Kiwis and Aussie sleep routine.
Yep.
And get us ready for the madness that was...
Mind you, though, Summer Games Fest was at 7 in the morning. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
Unlike what we had to experience today.
And tomorrow.
And what we're going to experience tomorrow as well. So, Summer Games Fest. Shall I run through? So these are mainly my highlights. I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that got announced at Summer Games Fest. So we had Elden Ring, which is the next game from Software. For those of you who don't know, that's Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And it's basically just another open world Dark Souls, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice game. I love that series.
But it's written by George R.R. Martin.
That's right, Game of Thrones guy is involved in this one. He actually managed to finish another story by the sounds of it.
Did he, though? Did he?
I don't know what input he had into this at all.
Well, he's one of the writers.
Yeah, so
of the game, so he would have done the entire story of the game.
So why is he writing this story when he's still got Game of Thrones to finish? That's still not been finished yet.
Diversifying his repertoire?
Well, that's meant to be coming out January next year on basically everything. I can't remember if it's previous gen. Definitely obviously coming out in current gen and PC. But, really looking forward to that. We then had an announcement from Gearbox, the creators of Borderlands, who announced, and they were teasing this throughout the week, but they announced something called Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Now, from the interviews and the things that we've seen, they still called it a loot and shoot, so it's still going to be very similar to Borderlands, but they said it's in its own world. You don't have to have played Borderlands 1, 2, or 3 to have played this game. It's going to be new characters with a couple of familiar faces, Tiny Tina obviously being one of them. And with some of the news that we got today as well, that we can see it's very D&D focused. This seems to be. They were talking about in the trailer. It shows off a red wyvern, a dragon creature, and they were talking about the game has to have goblins with their own sort of spin on how goblins look. So they were talking about that it's going to be very, more D&D focused than shooter focused, which is obviously.
And of course, you've got some really good voice actors involved as well.
Star-studded cast on this one. So you've got Will Arnett, is that how you pronounce the name? BoJack Horseman, Lego Batman. What else did he do?
Andy Samberg, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep, and the lady, I can't remember her name. Wanda Sykes. So this is pretty exciting because the usual cast of the Borderlands games are just regular, like, not A-tier people like that.
Yeah.
So, the only guy I know is the Prod Z guy. He's in Borderlands 3.
Wait, didn't we see Butt Stallion?
Butt
Stallion's in this game, is he?
Yeah, she's from Borderlands 2, and then...
Oh, it's a she. Oh, God.
Yeah, princess.
Maybe that's what Wanda Sykes is playing. I feel like Wanda Sykes would play her.
Maybe.
Is she sassy? And
she doesn't talk.
Oh.
She doesn't talk. I don't know. Maybe they're changing it up for this. But, yeah, I'm very excited. I don't think we've got a release date for that at all.
Not
I think
yet.
it was next year. It's probably going to be next year. Next up, another exciting announcement. Death Stranding Director's Cut. Now, it was just a trailer. It was very weird. It was Sam packing up a fragile box. That's all I needed to see. More Death Stranding. Death Stranding is the fantastic game from Hideo Kojima, the guy who did the Metal Gear series. Beautiful, brilliant game. Highly recommend. It's not Walking Simulator 2020. When did the game come out? It was 2020, right?
No, 2019.
2019? It's not Walking Simulator 2019. I really enjoyed the game. I'll buy the game again and play it all over again.
But what is a director's cut, though? Because isn't Death Stranding already a director's cut?
It will be, from what I've seen, or at least what I've read, it's going to be like how Lord of the Rings, you have the Lord of the Rings movies, and then you have like Lord of the Rings extended cut. Or like the Peter Jackson cut, basically. So this is the Hideo Kojima. Here's all the stuff that I wanted to put in the game, but I couldn't. But now I'm going to sell it to you for more money. So you have to buy the game again, which, praise Hideo Kojima. Let's just do it. Take my money. So I'll be picking that. And I'm pretty sure that's this year as well. So we'll be playing that again. Can't wait. They did an interview with, I can't pronounce this guy's name.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Also known as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. He's the top dog in The Boys. He's also the bad guy in Mandalorian.
He's everywhere.
He's such a good actor. So good. But he's going to be the new bad guy in Far Cry 6. I'm sure you guys have already seen his face is plastered on every piece of advertising. But they did a lovely interview with him. He is looking... Like, if you thought Gus Fring was scary... He's like taking it to the next level now. Yeah,
for sure.
So Far Cry 6, more on that, I guess, later on. And I believe they wrapped up the show with, I can't believe it, it sounds so weird saying this, Warner Brothers Back for Blood. So Warner Brothers does all the Lego games, the Batman games,
Mortal Kombat,
and now Back 4 Blood, which is the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, the really popular Steam zombie game, which only had 2 entries because Valve doesn't know how to count to 3. So they've skipped 3 and gone Back 4 Blood, and that looks fantastic. I can't wait to jump into that.
So wait, what's is it Left 4 Dead?
So it's, so the game is, so there's Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2,
right?
Which is and it's basically the same game. It's a 4-player zombie survival game. So you have a team of 4 people. You have to go from point A to point B. Usually you have to repair something to get a car going or get a generator going. And it's just zombies. You have different types of zombies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I feel like it's a better multiplayer version or a more fast-paced version of State of Decay.
What about Death Stranding? Not Death Stranding.
Dead Rising?
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising was, I don't know, it was just comical. It was pretty slow-paced. Zombies just slowly lurch towards you. But this is super intense. You've got, it's got a horror feel to it as well. Because it's first person. So it's much more intense.
Oh, imagine if it's coming to VR.
Could do. It could do. I don't know if they've announced that.
No.
But that was the Summer Games Fest. And now we're into the juicy stuff. We're into the main event, E3 Day 1, which we had to wake up at 5.
Well, we started at 4.
It started at 5 in the morning, and we had to get up at 4 something. I managed to slog my way out of bed in the morning.
And I just didn't sleep all night.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that feeling when you're about to leave overseas and you've got to wake up to go to the airport early.
Yeah.
That night, you just don't sleep. You keep waking up every hour
just the
on
adrenaline,
the hour.
the excitement.
That was me last night. 5 o'clock, I can wake up at 5 o'clock, but my body was like, nope, you're going to wake up at 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I think I remember waking up and just being like, why is my alarm going off? And then went off a second time. I was like, oh yeah, I've got a conference in 5 minutes. So we streamed that this morning. So there were three publishers for today. There's Ubisoft, Digital Devolver, and Gearbox. And that went on from 5 and finished about 7:30. So 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There was about half an hour, 15-minute break between one of the 2 shows. Should we kick it off with Ubisoft? Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So Ubisoft Forward was obviously a show that we share very different opinions about. So I was very keen. I was very excited about all the different announcements. I thought the show was really good, primarily because we had, for one of the first times, a very diverse range of people announcing the different games. We had POC hosts. We had a Southeast Asian or an East Asian woman introduce Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And then you got the different people throughout Europe talking about the different games and the development of the game and things like that. So I, as someone who is very passionate about diversity, was all in on today's Ubisoft Forward. Of course, you can't talk Ubisoft without Rainbow Six. And the show kicked off with Rainbow Six Extraction. I had no idea that this game was even coming out, to be honest. I'm not someone who follows the Rainbow Six story, development, all the different Siege games. That's just beyond me. I'm terrible at games like that. But Rainbow Six Extraction looked really good. It looked very much like Overwatch, which is a game I really loved. And it looked simple enough for someone who's absolutely terrible to really get in and just get amongst and play.
Yeah, so basically, for those of you, again, just finding out what this game is, it takes the characters from Rainbow Six Siege and puts them in a zombie environment. So where Rainbow Six Siege is a PvP, player versus player game, Rainbow Six Extraction is a PvE, player versus environment. In this case, the environment is an alien infection that's come down to Earth. It's turning people into weird zombie monster things. And you, as the Rainbow Six team, have to go into these infested areas, kill the zombies, monsters, whatever they're called, and save the day. And each of the levels that you go into, you play as one of the characters from the Rainbow Six Siege franchise. So I think in this one they had like Thermite, Hibana, Alibi, and I can't remember what the fourth person was. But yeah, I mean, this looks interesting. I was telling you before that the Rainbow Six Siege had an event in Halloween either last year or the year before called Extraction, which is basically this game. So they've taken this special timed event and just turned it into a full-fledged game.
Which is always great.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it because my biggest problem with Siege was it was very sweaty and you had a lot of angry people playing Siege. And if it's just such a difficult game to learn and to get into, and you have people shouting at you if you do the simplest thing wrong, and at least with Rainbow Six Extraction, it's just 4 people working together, and it seems relatively easy. The one thing I do like though is so you pick an operator, and you do the levels, and as they level up, they get better gear and equipment and things like that. Mm-hmm. But your operators can get captured. Like if you screw up and get knocked down, you'll get captured by the zombies, and then you lose that character. You lose all the progress with them. They're gone. No. So then you have to send in a team to extract them and get them out, and then you can use all their gear again and all of that. So that's actually coming out in a couple of months, September. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I think the one thing I'm most concerned about with Rainbow Six Extraction is this going to be a full price game? That's like I'm not sure. Am I going to have to be forking out $109 Australian to buy this game, or is this going to be like a standalone expansion for like $40?
Who knows? Based on some rumors that have been circling, Ubisoft might be coming to Xbox Game Pass. Hopefully, if that does happen, if that gets announced at the Xbox Bethesda Games Showcase tonight, it might be free.
Get Xbox Game Pass. I'm all about that. We're about that.
We're all about that.
Sweet. Next up.
Next up, we have something very, very special because I've been sitting through lockdown last year. I kept telling Tom, I really wish I brought my electric guitar with me. And today, Ubisoft announced Rocksmith Plus. It's basically a online interactive way of learning how to play the guitar, whether it's acoustic, electric, classical, the whole shebang. It's available to learn and play. And I was just sitting there watching and thinking like, God damn it, I didn't bring my electric guitar with me. And do you know how hard it is to buy an electric guitar? We spent so much of last year during the open periods going around searching for guitars, and either they're way too expensive or we don't have as many stores here in Melbourne compared to Auckland. Yeah. So Rocksmith Plus is probably me just going to go out to all the stores and say, hey, I need to buy an electric guitar. Can you cut me a deal, please?
So the cool thing about this one, so the Rocksmith Plus is the sequel to Rocksmith, which came out in like 2013 or something. I remember it was my last couple of years at JB Hi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And the original game, you had to have a amp plug to USB to plug in your guitar into the console. Mm-hmm. So you had to have an electric or an electric acoustic guitar to play the game. Right. This one though, however, they've done away with cable. You download an app on your phone and use your phone as the connector. So now you can actually play and learn with an acoustic guitar as well as an electric guitar. And bass as well. If you want to learn to play bass, they've got bass options. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, looks really good. On to the next one.
Well, this is something that when I told Tom I was really keen on, his expression just dropped and was like, why? So next on the list is Riders Republic, which essentially it's a sports game combining everything from mountain biking, dirt biking, snowboarding, skateboarding, all the extreme sports in one.
Yeah, it's Descenders. I think, is it Ride? What was that snowboarding game came out where you can climb? Steep.
Well, so, that's a Ubisoft one, right?
Is that the one where you can climb the mountains and jump off and do the...
I can't remember. I never played it.
There's a snowboarding game that came out not too long ago that has that. But it's Descenders, that game. It's got like the Jetpack Men. You know, like Jetpack Man who has the wings and things like that.
Oh,
and you can actually fly. It's got that in it. But yeah, it's like all the super extreme sports. And it's an MMO basically.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool though, because I'm not a big fan of sports game. Neither are you. So... yeah. At the most, I would play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but this is a game I am actually genuinely interested in, because if I want to snowboard, I can snowboard. If I want to play a skateboard, ride a skateboard and do some tricks and stuff, I can do that. But I can also race my friends and just challenge them to mountain bike races and things like that. So I don't know. I think it's going to be quite fun, especially getting like everyone involved, everyone in our community can play together. It's yet to be seen. I say I'm excited now, but we'll see when the game comes out.
Yeah, I guess we will see. Next up, I mean, again, Ubisoft, they showed off more Far Cry 6. They did I guess like the opening cinematic introducing, I can't pronounce his
Giancarlo Esposito.
What's the character's name? Do we remember?
I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know his son's name is Diego.
Diego's dad.
So we get to see Diego's dad. And Diego.
Yep, scary opening with him. And then they briefly talk about the season pass, which shows off basically they talk about the history of the Far Cry villains. You've had Vaz from Far Cry 3. Do you know the definition of insanity? They are Margan Ping from Far Cry 4. Joseph Seed from Far Cry 5. And they tease something about being able to play the villains.
Yes, so if you pre-order Far Cry 6, you get access to a season pass, which lets you play as the previous 3 villains.
They didn't really explain much more than that, though. No. They just said you get to...
I actually thought we might get a battle royale the way the trailer was showing. It's like you play as the villains and battle each other in a battle royale session.
It was a bit weird, but... and I think they also slid in as well. I don't know if you guys remember. I remember this. This is a super epic game. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which is it's like Far Cry meets Kung Fury, the 80s, like Hacker Man. It's all digital and it's just over the top craziness. They're re-releasing that as well for next gen, which looks awesome.
And then obviously the one that I am very stoked to talk about is Assassin's Creed Valhalla was shown off to get a Discover Valhalla, a Discovery...
Is this the history thing?
History, yeah. It's basically going to be a session of learning about the Viking history.
You control an NPC and like go... the way that I read it, again, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, you control an NPC and you go about their day and you learn... learn things.
And you learn things, boys and girls.
It can supplement your study. It's like, who's going to play Assassin's Creed? You're not got time for that.
I don't have time for that, but if I did have the time, I would so play that game because I am absolutely nuts for all things mythology and ancient history. So the fact that they've got the English history and how the Vikings obviously took over for a period of time. They've got the whole Norse mythology down. They've also got, I think, a Paris Siege DLC coming as well. Yeah. So that's going to be really interesting to see because the Vikings really were one of the very first colonizers. And so it'll be really interesting to see just how their history developed over time. Because nowadays, when you think about it, when you talk about colonizers, you think about the British, right? You don't think about the Vikings and all those predecessors back then. So this history learning session, as Tom says, who's going to do it? This will actually be quite useful for people who, look, at the end of the day, do kids go to school and want to learn history? No. But if you do it in a game, they might. So who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
And of course, I say I'm very keen on Assassin's Creed Valhalla and all things that are to come. But I have to say, I think Tom is really excited about this next one, which is Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
This is the game that confirms we are in the weirdest timeline. If you'd have said to me 5 years ago, hey, Tom, do you know what's going to be the next crossover? The Mario characters or the Mario universe. And remember those super weird characters that came out of an Xbox Kinect game like years ago? Yeah, Mario and the Rabbids. I'd have been like, yeah, whatever. Why? Why is this a thing? I can't believe this is a thing.
Because, Tom, because Peach, Rabbid Peach, is the sassiest, most popular Instagrammer.
Apparently. And out of all the games it could have been, it's a turn-based strategy game as well. So we've had turn-based like Mario games in the past, but like Mario and Rabbids turn-based strategy is just so weird. I mean, I enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun. A bit cringy, like rabid humor, but it's nice to see Nintendo stepping out of their like comfort zones and doing something a little bit different.
It's all for the kids, right?
I mean, another Switch game. I'm not complaining.
Of course, now that leaves us with the last reveal
That nobody asked for.
Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
Why?
Because they can, Tom. Because they can. I personally think that this is just another tool to hype up the Avatar sequels.
Which is never coming out, apparently.
I mean, we've been hearing about the sequels since Avatar 1, right?
Yep.
So,
and there's meant to be 4 movies.
So the fact that it's been, 10 years or more since that movie, I feel like the game is just another reminder for the fact that, hey, the movies are coming. The movies are coming.
I don't think anybody cares anymore. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like, you mentioned something interesting, though, as well, like Titanfall. Imagine if it's like a...
So I personally think it's almost going to be... We obviously didn't see any gameplay today. It was purely a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
But from the looks of it, we're going to see the human mechs coming in to the Na'vi forest or their little environment and threatening their little living space. And then you've got the Na'vi fighting back, essentially. So for me, it almost looks like a Titanfall mixed with Tomb Raider kind of style, which is, I'm really keen to play it if it's like that. I would love to play as a Na'vi, shooting arrows and trying to shoot off helicopters in the distance.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. Who knows? I mean, I'd like to be wrong, but...
It's better to be positive and optimistic about these things, Tom.
I don't know. All right. We can't talk about today without talking about the LSD fever dream that was the Digital Devolver Showcase today. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much about what they showed off, but just know that you have a subscription to Devolver Max Pass Plus. Don't ask how, but you do have a subscription to the service. I highly recommend you go on YouTube and look up at the show. But while we can't talk about that, or we won't talk about that to not spoil it, we can talk about the awesome games. This whole thing was my highlight of waking up. I'm glad I was awake this morning to see this, because this woke me up. My whole thing while I was on stream was just, what the hell is going on? And I mean, I'm glad I was there for it. We had some awesome indie titles that were announced. I'm excited to play practically everything that they announced. They started off with the bombastic opening and dove into a really contrasting, like, very quiet, somber game called Trek to Yomi, which you made a really interesting point. You said it reminded you of Scorpion's backstory.
Yes, because the teaser essentially showed off this Japanese character who looked like his family just got slaughtered by a bunch of enemies, and then he chases off after them. And that's essentially Scorpion's story. And by Scorpion, I mean Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And the thing that I really liked is that it was in a very quiet, somber, black and white style, almost like what you said, Limbo,
yeah.
Which is a game that we both enjoyed. So, yeah, I mean, I personally may not play this game, but I can appreciate why someone would.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. They didn't show much. I'll be interested to see what it's going to be a combat game, 2D combat game by the looks. Be interested in seeing how it plays, and yeah, I guess we'll see. Next up, we had a game from the guys who created Don't Starve. I love the title for this game. The trailer is really good as well. The trailer has an awesome song piece throughout, and it's like my favorite title to say. It's Wizard with a Gun. Yeah, it's about wizards with guns.
See, I was in bed watching with complete darkness, volume on the low, and Tom was sitting here doing his stream because we were co-streaming it, or he was co-streaming it, and all of a sudden I just hear Wizards of the Gun or with a gun, and I'm just like, what just happened here? What's going on?
It looks awesome. It's isometric survival crafting. Basically, just imagine Don't Starve, which was a survival crafting game, but with wizards and with guns. That's the game. It's multiplayer as well. Coming out this year, I think. Most of these games are all coming out this year, which I'm super stoked for. We had up next Inscription. Is it Inscription or Inscription?
Inscription, I would
It is
say.
Inscription?
Yeah.
So it's a super weird, creepy deck building card game. So when I say deck building, think of games like Slay the Spire. So you start off, you pick cards, and you have a little deck, and you play the cards and do battle and things like that. And the environment that it's set in is very creepy and weird. There was another game that came out not too long ago. I can't remember the name. Something Into the Forest or Light in the Forest.
Into the Forest? Yeah,
it has a creepy yellow bird as like the main figure piece.
So would you say this is kind of like Slay the Spire meets Darkest Dungeon?
Maybe. It's really hard to tell. They didn't show much in the trailer. But it's coming out like really soon. I'm pretty sure it's coming out like next month or the month after. Again, most of these games are coming out in the next 2 months. So
that's interesting.
We'll be playing this on stream for sure.
No doubt it might come out to Game Pass because, you know, we're all about that Game Pass.
might come to Game Pass. Yeah, because Carrion was a digital Devolve game.
And Darkest Dungeon, is that a Devolver game as well?
That's not a Devolve game, no.
Slay the Spire was though, right? And it was on Game Pass?
Slay the Spire wasn't, no.
Oh, it isn't? Okay.
No,
I feel like...
Carrion and Minute both came to Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it could do. We'll see. Then we had Devolver announcing their first mobile game. Again, the trailer is absolutely bombastic. Tumble Time, Devolver Tumble Time. Looks like
what is it? Fall Guys?
Looks like Candy Crush on acid. Maybe I don't know. It's like it's weird. Sure, whatever. I'll play that. We got the super cute, super adorable Death's Door. I was watching that, and initially I was like, "Oh, what a cute little bird playing with a sword." And then I was like, and I had a closer look. I was like, "Oh no, it can't be. It's a person with a black cloak." And then the character turns and faces the screen. It's like, "Oh no, it is a bird. You play as a little crow with a sword." It's almost like Hyper Light Drifter. So it's another isometric top-down like fighter game. Didn't really explain the story too much, but there's giant bosses and your typical go around collect gear. It's probably going to be another roguelike, but right up my alley. That was really cool. I mean, we'll probably breeze through these last couple because they weren't too fantastic. But they had Phantom Abyss, which is basically Temple Run meets wizards and grappling hooks. Reminds me of a game called Ziggurat, which came out on the Xbox 360 ages ago. They showed off, to start with, Shadow Warriors 3.
That was one I was really keen on.
Yeah. From the trailer, I think the easiest way to describe it is just Asian-themed Doom. Which
is perfect.
Like that's what it is. It's got spinning blades, and you've got a gun, and
it's got a grappling hook as
well.
Yeah,
you have a grappling hook.
Cool.
You're going all around the level. You're grappling into enemies. You're triggering traps to go off. They only showed like 2 levels by the looks, and it was hurting my eyes watching it. There was just so much flashing lights as they're going around and killing all the enemies. And then they wrapped it off with a game called Demon Throttle, which is a digital game that is only going to be physically released at a site called specialreserve.com. And it's like an 8-bit demon themed bullet hell game, which it looked okay, bit weird. But I highly recommend you go and watch the show. It's 30 minutes long. It's a wild ride. It's really, really good. I thought it was very funny. All right.
And last off,
finish
it off.
It was a very, very short one. Gearbox, they had a little segment. We've actually covered off some of this already, but they opened up with the Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and they briefly spoke about the art direction and stuff we've already discussed. They've then shown a new game called Tribes of Midgar, which is another like sort of indie game, top down. I want to describe it as Valheim meets city building. So the story of the game is you're brought to Midgard to guard the seed of Yggdrasil, basically the tree of life in the Viking mythology. And you start with nothing. You go around, collect stuff, kill little mobs and things like that. And you build up defenses around the tree. And then at certain points, giant frost giants and flame giants come and attack your city, trying to destroy your tree. And you have to defend it. And yeah, up to eight players. Yeah, looks interesting. I'll probably give it a go. They then announced Godfall.
Oh, your favorite game.
You can go to attackongeek.com, look up Godfall. It's the game that came out on PS5 shortly after launch. It is an absolute. I mean, I'm really sorry, Gearbox. I love Borderlands. Don't get me wrong, but Godfall was garbage. I hated Godfall. It's such a crap game.
I couldn't hear the end of it last year when you were playing it.
If it's your first hack and slash game, maybe you'll enjoy it. But if you've played like actually good hack and slash games and you try playing this, it just feels awful. But it's coming to PS4 now! Yay! That was the announcement, and they've announced the DLC. What was the DLC called? Fire and Darkness.
So I take it you're not gonna pick up the DLC then?
No, why? Why waste my time? I mean, maybe I should go back and just see if it's gotten any better. But if you read my review, you'll find out why I don't like it. It's literally Destiny, then Godfall as like my most hated game at the moment.
Still can't believe you don't like Destiny.
Garbage game. Fight me. What else? Throughout the show, they were talking about Homeworld 3, which is a space game I've never actually heard or played. Have you heard of Homeworld?
Never heard.
I mean, they're on to their third game, so it must be doing pretty well. But apparently that's in development. They're showing off bits and bobs. And then they ended the segment with Randy Pitchford talking to Kevin Hart about the Borderlands movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So any other introductions to how and why Kevin Hart is playing Roland?
Apparently Kevin Hart doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't know what he's doing. He wants to assure everybody that he's really tall. I mean, I don't know why Kevin Hart is playing Roland. If any of you guys have played Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, Roland is basically like The Rock. Super tall guy. He's like medium build, but he's like a serious commander. He leads the resistance against Hyperion. And they got the shortest, most slapstick comedy guy ever to play him. Like,
I mean, to be fair though, they got what's her name? Kate Blanchett to play Lilith, I think it is.
And they've got who's your horror actress?
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis
to play as Tannis. They got Jack Black as Claptrap. I can't remember the little girl's name who plays Tiny Tina. I can't remember if they've announced any other. Oh, they've announced someone who plays Krieg as well. Krieg, the psycho character, but I can't remember the actor's name. But it was a very awkward, weird interview, and the movie is coming out soon, I guess. And that was pretty much it. That was E3 Day one. Now, it was a big day today. Tomorrow, we have Xbox
and Bethesda at 3 a.m. Yep. I
think that's it, isn't it?
Pretty much.
That's what I mean. Ones that we care about. I think Square Enix.
Enix is doing one. Bandai Namco are doing one.
Yep.
We've got the PC gaming show,
Yep.
Future Game Show.
Yep.
E3 is still going on. It doesn't end with Xbox and Bethesda, but we all care about Xbox and Bethesda.
Yeah.
So we'll be covering that.
So we'll be up. So it'll be, for those of you watching on the live stream, it'll be about 10 hours time. We'll be streaming that. For those of you who are tuning in and listening to this later on, you'll be able to find our coverage on our website and probably on our YouTube at some point.
Social media channels, obviously,
all
will be
that jazz.
live tweeting it all.
And then I think we have, it's just Nintendo then, which is Wednesday morning at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So
which I'm not staying up for.
I'll stay up for that. Come on, Switch Pro. Metroid 4, Breath of the Wild 2, let's go.
What a day.
There we go.
What a week.
Yeah.
God.
That's literally, we crammed in our week into about an hour. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Covered most things off?
Pretty much.
Alrighty. Well, there you have it, team. Episode 1 of the Attack on Geek Show, featuring me, Tom.
And me, Dhayana.
And are we announcing... Do you want to do the other announcement, the podcast?
Off you go.
So, I don't know if you know, but we do have and for those of you listening, I'm signaling to Dhayana here. We have the Australia's biggest Xbox fan.
I wouldn't say fan. I would just say doer of everything.
Doer of everything Xbox. If you need a hand with anything to do with Xbox, turn to this lovely lady here. You do all your controller videos, your unboxings, all things Xbox. We're actually doing... I don't know the name of the show.
Okay, well, I'll break it down for you. Doer of everything. So, for those of you who don't know, I run a women's community for Xbox. So, Women of Xbox is a community I run. If you're a female Xbox gamer or just a female gamer wanting to get involved with the Xbox community, go check Women of Xbox out. We have a Discord that we are open currently only to female gamers and those who identify as female and non-binary. So there's that. There's also an unnamed Xbox project that I am essentially the chief diversity officer for. We'll be bringing on a whole bunch of staff and it's going to be so amazing when it finally launches. Set your reminders and your calendars for July 1st. That's when everything will be announced. And then, as...
this is the one I was getting at, yeah.
This is the one that Tom's forgotten the show name for
already. I'm a part of and I've forgotten it already.
We have partnered with Dash Gamer to essentially bring a dedicated Xbox podcast to Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the world. The show is called The Xbox Show.
Yeah.
Simple and easy.
So, and where can people find and listen to this?
So essentially, we will be on all the podcast domains, iTunes, Spotify,
yep, all
is
the
a
normal
SoundCloud,
places.
All of those normal places. Of course, we will also be potentially putting it up on YouTube and things like that as well. So yes, our first pilot or soft launch will go up on the 15th of June, so Tuesday at 6 a.m. AEST, so that's Australian time. So yeah, it'll be really interesting because
You'll basically be
do
covering...
of so many things that I've just been so busy. It's Xbox,
and we've got the Xbox showcase, the E3 showcase.
Tomorrow, yes. But we do have one final announcement that I forgot to mention. We are essentially doing now, going forward, PlayStation content as well. So it's not just Xbox that we'll be doing. We are going to be covering a lot of PlayStation games, PlayStation peripherals, all sorts. And
we can talk about it because the show is called Attack On Geek Show, not the
Xbox show.
So, where's the logo up there?
So the Xbox show will cover, again, as a recap, everything films, TV, anime, games, multi-platform. So no console wars here, please. And anything and everything geek. So yeah, I think we've got some really cool, exciting topics and conversations in the future, and no doubt you'll be sharing your thoughts on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart at the next show.
Yep.
So yeah, good times ahead.
Alrighty. That will do it from us for this evening then. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in live.
Did you want to, as we move on towards the end, answer any chat questions that anyone might have before we go off?
I think we'll take chat questions afterwards as a special treat for those who have tuned in. But for those listening at home, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next time. I think we need to work on a schedule. That's our biggest bane at the moment. We'll get the schedule sorted. Twitter.com/attackongeek, www.attackongeek.com. Those are all the best places to find us. I've been Tom. You've been Dhayana.
I'm always Dhayana.
I think that will do it for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Stick around. We'll stay live for Twitch questions. Speak to you guys soon.
Bye.